By the client's own admission, this was the site we were recommending was one of their least favorite ones. It looked like it was going to be difficult to get the three organizations in there gracefully. There was nothing appealing about the buildings. The location, drunks on Washington Avenue, it was the furthest thing from a place that a literary arts center would want to go. But we made a case that, look, this is about the changes between the university and downtown. There were already rumblings of the Mill City Museum and rumblings of the Guthrie wanting to come to the riverfront. A lot of interest. And I said, we said, this is going to be in the middle of this incredibly vital district. Furthermore, these buildings are living fiction. I mean, just think for a minute about how fiction is created, how literature is created. People have fragments of association and memory, and it's the artfulness with which the story is built, not the factual truth of the terms, the words, the phrases, the associations. It's the artful interplay of them. So let's build your mission in the context of these throwaway buildings in this bad part of the city to demonstrate the power of what you believe in. We had to take apart the building slowly. What's here? We found incredible things. There are three buildings. They were built at different times, and one of the buildings was exposed visually to the depot down the road on Washington Avenue. And because of that, it was painted for signs welcoming people into town. The wall had been large letters advertising cigars, selling cigars, but in Polish. Turns out there was an influx of Polish immigrants the years that sign, it was a kind of welcoming them to the city, giving them comfort in the language, selling cigars. And that little moment, that little flash of reality was then buried by another building built next to it. And then we worked with the Jerome Foundation to hire, I think there was 12 artists that were commissioned to come in and do interventions in the building to further enlarge a fictional landscape. And so each artist figured out all kinds of ways to intervene, and in the spirit of what we had edited and uncovered, began to make some contemporary mysteries in the building. So the building is, I think it's a wonderful example of a kind of embodied set of narratives. On one floor, they had whited out the wall historically to push the light down, and then they came and built a service bench up against the wall when they filled in the floor. And then all kinds of spraying and damaging and things would occur on the wall. And so you could read both the whitewashed wall and this occupation on the second floor. When we pulled out the floor to bring in the daylight, this odd ensemble of white surface and this set of interventions in place looked like a Jackson Pollock. I mean, it was so unnervingly haunting when you looked at it. We just, culled away the work, protected it, didn't do anything to that wall. And it's right where we put the stair, the open book stair that unfurls and seems to let out letters and words and phrases that are in conversation with this painting. People think it was one of the artists commissioned. Completely gratuitous discovery. If you're patient enough and sit there, you'd start observing, it's like the building's secret lives come alive. And these new moves, are not part of the history, but are related to the interpretation of the history, also come alive.